Let's do it! Yes!
Thank you.
It's EHOME versus Vici Gaming, lower bracket final. Winner faces off against Secret in the grand final.
Not a first ban I was expecting to see, by the way. The Alchemist that early. I mean, Alchemist Undying, obviously, we have seen Vici Gaming do really well with that, but yeah, we saw a Secret counter it, and I would imagine EHOME also knowing how to counter that. And they banned the combination in total. They banned both Undying and Alchemist.
But are they going to let 11 get his Tusk now?
It's Tusk or Queen of Pain that they're going to remove. First pick goes to EHOME, so they can get whichever one Vici Gaming leaves in the pool, or they're going to leave both in the pool, and so that they make sure that they can at least pick up one of them for themselves.
You can kind of give away the Tusk. You can also have like a different game plan. Like, for example, Broodmother. If you want to give that away, just because EHOME's lanes are sometimes like very, very predictable in what they want to do, and they always tend to go for these like similar supports and similar cores. So.
Eyes came on the camera.
People at home can't see, but they're also showing shots of the players, and Daryl's doing Daryl things right now. Anything besides being involved in the game.
Oh, and what? Oh my God, he's actually called Ice.
He actually sported his name.
He's actually called that. I'm impressed. Although he is saying that he's a stand-in, maybe insecure about his position in the team.
Now with Spearbreaker being the second ban choice of Vici Gaming, EHOME, no surprise, they're going to be going for the Tusk. 11, I hope he likes playing the hero because he's going to be doing it again. Now we look to the response from Vici Gaming here. Opening up early. Darkseer, maybe if they want to go with team fight and secure a strong high ground defense.
Yeah, but EHOME seems a little bit hesitant about picking up the Tusk. They actually dipped into some of their reserve time, wondering like if that was what they wanted to go for. And Vici obviously know that they're going to take Tusk first pick if it's available.
Queen of Pain and an Earthshaker in the first phase here for Vici Gaming. I don't know if you heard the emphasis in my voice, but I thought that was peculiar.
Fairly peculiar. Maybe trying to make sure that they, well, obviously trying to make sure that they get it now, but also try to throw off EHOME, because what kind of Earthshaker is this? It can be offlane, it could be support, and right now also Queen of Pain is one of those heroes that can do multiple things. They're not giving anything away, and with both of their picks, and I think that is very strong on itself.
It's a lot of team fight and a lot of early game. I think EHOME's weakness is sometimes having weaker lanes, especially if CTY is not playing the co-op. His Lina was decent, but not as impressive as his Queen of Pain, and his Slaughter yesterday also got destroyed. So you want strong laners, you want to take away the Queen of Pain, and the Earthshaker is also really good versus the Tusk, and because they almost always run Tusk as the offlane, you don't have to worry about the clockwork. So it's okay to pick up in the first phase.
Now it's back to EHOME's side here.
But you want to make sure you have enough team fight and enough early game. You don't ever want to draft too greedily versus EHOME because they can end games very, very swiftly.
Oh, yeah.
EHOME is not entirely sure what to draft right now.
I figured with all the time they got, they would have just pre-plotted the whole draft ahead of them. Ember Spirit.
They end up going for the Ember
First
Spirit.
time we're going to see it today, if I'm not mistaken.
You are not mistaken.
All right. So it's an Ember kind of a game. Yesterday we saw ridiculously fantastic played Eternal Envy Ember Spirit. We'll see if EHOME took any notes on that because it was very, very well played.
I think they might just do the same thing that they did versus Secret, though. You get a good, nice scaling hero in the mid lane, especially because you're Radiant like TA or Shadow Fiend, even Wind Ranger, and you pressure the Ember Spirit from the get-go. They don't have the Undying this time, so it's not as easy, and their options aren't going to be that great. And also, EHOME's supports aren't necessarily revealed yet, so you don't know if you're going to be able to actually contest that lane.
When Vici Gaming was up against an Ember Spirit yesterday, and I'm not sure they picked this because of the Ember Spirit, but they did go for a very strong Jakiro offlane, and it was insanely good. They might not have won that game, but Ice at the start of the game, the first 20 to 30 minutes or so, he dominated that game. He got a Blink Dagger, a Yule Scepter. He had control over the game the whole time.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want a safe lane queen who farms an early Orchid, and then you keep the Ember under farm so he doesn't get a Battle Fury and Manta in time. And then once you get the Orchid, you just keep on controlling the Ember Spirit. But again, there aren't that many good heroes to do so. You want like, let's say, like, you know, Ogre plus Jakiro, like that sort of lane. But it seems like they're gonna gear up for that with the Shadow Fiend kind of running around. But you want two heroes that can stay there alone. You don't want the Earthshaker to have to be up there. And if you have the Earthshaker as your offlaner, there's no way you can pressure the Ember Spirit alone.
Shadow Fiend, Queen of Pain for Vici Gaming, what I like to call the DAC duo. This comes after, of course, banning out the Viper and the AA. So, and without Vici Gaming showing that they have any sort of sustain or healing yet, is that some sort of red flag that maybe they're going to be looking to get something to back it up? I don't know if it's just maybe respect to Lanham and how he likes to play AA, but I'm curious to see if that is just kind of any sort of indicator that they want to get something with heavy sustain later on. This comes after now a Rubik being picked up from EHOME.
Agent Operation, I really like him in an early lane scenario where they run an aggressive tri lane, get Chilling Touch, and just hit people, basically. And we saw Vici Gaming being aggressive against EHOME in the first game they had on Wednesday, where they actually got 2 to 3 kills before the horn even sounded, before the creeps even spawned. And I think if you have an Agent Operation, you can counter that easier. Maybe they want to go for a lot of early aggression as well and want to prevent EHOME from having that type of physical damage or magical physical damage combination. Right-click damage, I should say.
But Vici's team fight is much stronger than EHOME's right now. They have a lot more AoE. The Queen of Pain is also going to have a really good start if she's paired up versus Tusk, and they have a mech carrier. EHOME does pick up the mech on the Tusk, but it's generally pretty late, I would say, and only if they have like a pretty good start, and he usually gets like Arcanes first, so you know, the timing for EHOME fighting with the Tusk mech is going to be much later.
Silencer comes out, probably for the response to Ember Spirit, so they have a way to contain them and keep them locked down a bit. Do worry about EHOME's way to penetrate into a base here. This is a lot of high ground defense and, as you said, team fight for Vici Gaming. EHOME need to find a way that, if they are able to take control of the game, being able to actually get into the base and get some work done.
You're not that scared of being able to push early, though, just because if they have a Queen of Pain as your one, generally your one's going to scale a lot better, right? Like Ember Spirit. It's not that much of a discrepancy, but it's enough that you don't never feel like you have to end the game that early. But Teleport Assassin's a pretty nice one versus the Shadow Fiend.
Obviously now offers easy Roche potential, being on the dire side. You have your stacking partner there. Something Vici Gaming are going to have to consider, and if it's, well, we don't know yet where this Earthshaker is going to go, but if it's an Earthshaker Silencer duo, they're not the best at being able to totally roam around the map and just kind of bring in that kind of intel without getting themselves in a bit of a precarious situation.
So with the Silencer, they really wanted to limit the effectiveness of the Tusk. We saw so many snowballs from 11, even like well-placed ice shards that just completely ruined the team fight for the other team. So if you have a strong safe laner as well as like a Silencer, you can just prevent the Tusk from getting Greaves. Greaves is probably the best counter to Global Silence that an offlaner is going to be able to get. You Greaves, you snowball, and then you bring your teammates in and you kind of just trade your Greaves for the Global Silence, which is excellent.
We kind of seem to miss a Lanham hero, am I correct, for Team EHOME? I believe Rubik, Kaka is Rubik one of his most played heroes. Now Lanham has played a lot of different heroes this entire tournament. Which hero would you like to see for him?
5 seconds remaining.
Well, if they're looking to go defensive, I mean, Dazzle's always still there.
Actually, Rubik is also one of Lanham's most played heroes, so we'll see how they're going to go with that one.
They need better team fight, though, for sure. Like, TA and Ember Spirit aren't that great at team fighting. Rubik's, like, decent, but versus a Silencer, you really have to have more.
Lanham Sand King. It's been a while, but he is really crazy on that hero.
Yeah, I think Sand King wouldn't be that bad. They don't really have the tools to pressure the enemy jungle as it stands right now. Like, Silencer's pretty hard to incorporate in a off lane.
Yeah.
So that'd be pretty decent for them. It's definitely difficult though versus the Silencer.
Still curious where this Earthshaker is going to be. I mean, if I figure it's just going to be a support to hang around the Shadow Fiend, do they just go for something like a Clockwork here? Put that in the off lane for Ice Ice Ice?
Yeah, I think we're looking at Ice 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 hero last.
How did we forget about Slardar? Also, the first of the day.
Surprisingly, actually. In high contention in yesterday's games.
Yeah. Well, now you have your initiation. Additional initiation, I guess. Good team fight. He's your bruiser. Tanky frontliner.
Yeah, it's really good versus TA, especially good versus Ember Spirit, and you want multiple ways to jump. They have like Queen of Pain who can blink an Earthshaker and a Sora, and then follow up with a global, and EHOME really needs like BKBs and then some to deal with this team fight. On top of that, it's still all a pretty strong lane, although not the ideal lane to pressure Ember Spirit.
I feel like Vici Gaming's lineup is very well rounded. They've got everything. Early game, late game, team fight, ganking potential. EHOME lacking that team fight still.
Yeah, they really are. like, I mean, they might go for something like a Dazzle here because it's pretty good for the Slaughter and it can save the Ember Spirit, but a well-played Silencer, especially if you get 6 early, can just completely crush this. But I can't really think of that many options that will actually offer team fight and defensive capabilities for their team that can burst through global.
Do have to say, though, looking through the history of Vici Gaming, don't see them playing Slardar very often, so what a better time than now. Hope they're not too rusty with the thing. I'm sure it's something they have practiced and horned in on, you know, whether it's scrim play or not, but just a small side note.
There's always game 2, I guess. You know, if it doesn't work out, try again later. Or just forget about the hero and move on in the second game.
Looking for
a bounty hunter.
Bounty hunter here, so putting more emphasis on lane control and lane dominance.
Yeah, we saw actually Bounty Hunter yesterday from Team Secret. Bounty Hunter not very successful in the early game, but insanely critical in the mid to late game. Once the track kills started coming in, it is a good hero to try and delay the game with, and I think that might be the key why they picked
You see they have like super greedy support. Silencer and Earthshaker, they can't, like Earthshaker can kind of roam decently, but you're going to be stacking and pulling a lot with the Silencer, and Bounty Hunter can kind of interrupt this farm that you're looking for when you have the Shadow Fiend. And TA is already a decent matchup for Shadow Fiend. With the help of a Bounty Hunter, you can actually get some kills on him.
So as the game loads up and get underway, I want to pose the question here. For what team is it more important that they get off to a better head start in the laning
EHOME,
phase?
definitely, because Vici has like way better team fight.
I keep saying EHOME as well in the previous series that they played against each other. And I keep seeing Vici Gaming winning the early game, so I hope that EHOME this time is better prepared. You think they are?
Yeah, I think if the Bounty Hunter's well played, they can definitely throw a wrench in the Vici's strat. He's the key hero here. Ember Spirit should have decent farms, should TA, but when it comes to the team fight, they really have to be like over-farmed compared to Vici.
All right, fair enough. Looks like we're loaded in the game here. I know there's a bit of a pause, but let's go ahead and we can take this time to hear what our casters maybe thought about the draft. Let's go ahead and send it over right now. It's LD and Winter. What a wonderful duo. Gentlemen, have some fun.
Thank you very much, Dakota. Winter, we are live here at the Suntech Convention Center, getting ready to see who the final team will be that moves on to face Secret. The teams will have a day off to review, recuperate, but first, they got to earn their spot. Before we really talk about this game in particular, coming into the match, I want to hear your thoughts on the matchup. Last time these two teams faced, it was a dominating 2-0 performance. Do you view Vici Gaming as heavy favorites coming into the series? Do you expect a closer series? What are your overall thoughts on the matchup between the teams coming in?
I think even though Vici is the slight favorite, but I expect it to be a very close match. And the last time EHOME played Vici, they sort of used a different type of draft. They were drafting heavy team fight focus, and this game, they have more of a split pressure type of draft. They want to force Vici to be out alone in the map and get pickups with BH and Ember. So they are adopting a very different type of strategy this time.
Do you feel like they're comfortable with that playstyle, though? Because when we saw EHOME in their past few games, you know, it's something the analysts also talked a lot about. I think you were actually on the panel earlier, is that they're just winning through teamfight execution. But with this draft, yeah, there's some pickoff potential, but it's not really a 5v5 lineup. So how do you feel that style suits them?
Not sure, though, because the last time when we saw CTY handle a hero like Ember, it didn't really end up too well for his team. So I'm not sure if they're actually comfortable with this style, or they're just thinking that they need to switch things up, since the last time when they adopt the more comfortable style, which is teamfight, it didn't work out for them.
So do you think it's going to be like a return of the 10-minute god, or?
Maybe. It's hard to say.
He was so good on Queen of Pain yesterday, though. So I am looking forward. Obviously, he's got incredible individual mechanics, but sometimes with CTY, it does feel like he tries to do a little bit too much. So hopefully, LAN can kind of calm him down and keep him under control.
Yeah, I think he just needs to understand that when he can be aggressive and when he shouldn't be aggressive. That is the key hero for Ember, as we saw from Envy, that he knows how to balance his aggression and he knows how to balance his, when to play defensive as well.
Honestly, looking at the draft, though, this is a really hard Ember game. If you don't have a great start, you've got the Global Silence to lock him down, the Slardar for the instant initiation, Queen of Pain also often will build an Orchid, you've got the Blink Echo, the Fissure. There's so many ways to just jump the Ember, and it gets quite a few of them. There's just no solution if he doesn't see it coming. And they don't have a great defensive support. They just have the snowball.
Manta on Ember, and you have to build, I think, Garden Greaves as well on the Tusk, so you can actually get out of the silence and actually save your teammates. I think these items will be very crucial for EHOME.
Well, if anyone's going to have a big game on Tusk, I guess at this point it's got to be 11. You were telling me during the break, Winter, he has kind of a famous name within the Chinese community. He has a nickname.
That was his pub name, I think, 节奏魔王. It means tempo fiend. He's very good at tempo controlling heroes.
He's the master of tempo, basically.
Yeah, master of tempo.
Okay, so he's the other kind of director, not necessarily calling everything for the team, but just always there to smooth things out if they get dicey.
He's the Batrider player.
Yeah. Man, you miss Batrider, don't you?
It's a fun hero. You get to kidnap people onto the cliffs.
Yeah, where is Gustav when you need him? Good old S4. Maybe we'll see a little more Batrider at the major.
Yeah, Gustav is planning his next move with Batrider. Pretty sure there'll be some games that he first picks Batrider.
I'm pretty sure this. Hell, he did it. It was like the way the patch opened for Alliance. So, how do you think these teams match up against Secret? Obviously, they looked really good yesterday, but they had some like disgusting individual play. You can't always count on everyone bringing their like absolute A game to every match. So, coming into the grand finals, whoever wins this, do you think they have a pretty good shot, or are Secret like overwhelming favorites there as well?
I think the team that has the better shot versus Secret has to be the team that's more flexible. I think Vici is so far more flexible than EHOME. Okay. So I would think that Vici has a better chance against Secret. But because it's against EHOME, this match is, even though Vici is a better match, a better opponent versus Secret, but in a match where Vici plays like a Chinese team, maybe because you understand each other better, so you actually have a solution to deal with Vici. So it doesn't mean that because Vici can deal with Secret better, they're going to beat EHOME for sure.
Yeah, they have to get there first. And EHOME, obviously they've had a chance to review the tape. As you mentioned, they are changing up the game plan of this series. So guys, for those wondering or just kind of tuning in or curious what exactly is going on, ISIS is just sorting out some issues with the sound. I guess that's for the team speak. So obviously the players need to be able to hear each other, Winter. Kind of important. You know, actually that was interesting at TI2 because a lot of the Western players, they were entirely used to using TeamSpeak or Ventrilo or Skype.
We just yell at each other.
All the Asian players were used to just playing in LAN cafes and often would even wear headphones in the booth. They'd just be screaming at their teammates, and it worked really well. And in fact, CDEC had never actually used TeamSpeak before at, I think it was it MLG or ESL? I think it was ESL.
You know, if I'm sitting next to you, I'm yelling, "Stun, you dumbass." So you won't be wanting to sit next to me in a cyber cafe.
Yeah. You actually get pretty loud. You're normally very mild-mannered, but when you're playing Dota, the gloves come off. Winter gets vicious. Not a nice guy.
Most of the C players are very loud because we are used to playing at LAN cafes.
Do you want to give us your best, like, hype, impression?
No.
Yell at me like I've just ruined your game, Winter. Come on.
I just did. I said, dumbass.
Fair enough. That's the best you got, huh? I'm not even remotely phased.
Yeah, you're that teammate that if I'm the Skyraf and you are the Batrider, you lasso and you move away from my ulti and I'll be yelling at you.
Oh, no, I'll be playing Tiny. I'll just toss you into their team if you talk to me like that.
Yeah,
then I'll start feeding the courier. I'll hide your items in the trees.
I'm going to be reporting you every game, don't worry.
So for those who don't know, Winter is a master of reports. He prides himself on every report being successful. You always get more, but you're also reporting a lot.
Yeah, I'm rewarded for making the pubs for everyone better.
You're making Dota a better place. You're cleaning up the streets. So still waiting on the audio fix, guys. Not really sure.
Dude, I'm doing that for you.
What?
For the NA pubs.
Take out the trash.
Because you're always raging.
I thought you were moving to Europe. Arise has requested that you relocate.
Yeah.
Magnus's forgotten son.
Too bad.
Too bad.
No, it's not as easy as this.
Long break here. So, well, the teams are definitely going to have a lot of time to talk about the lanes. Let's look at the matchup here as far as the actual draft goes. We're going to see Vici Gaming, Shadow Fiend mid, pretty obvious. Most likely the Burning Queen of Pain safe lane. FY is going to be on the Shaker, so he'll be the one looking to support Super, maybe set up some kills potentially. You'll have the Ice off-lane Slardar. And I know some teams have tried to run this as a one position, but a little bit more frequently we see it in the off-lane. And then the key thing for me for Vici is the silencer pick, Winter. If Fenrir has a good start, they can really shut down EHOME in the mid-game.
It's not only that. I think the BH versus Earthshaker matchup is also crucial for the early laning phase, because Earthshaker will be looking to help make sure that the SF has a good start. You make sure it doesn't die in the lane. You make sure it gets stacks ready, and BH is always there to scout things out, maybe block the stack in the early stage. Maybe we will see an early TP from the BH just to place some sentries or wards to block the SF camps. So those are the things that we need to look out for the early game, for EHOME to actually get it done. Because if you slow down the SF, you essentially slow down the 5-man. Because SF is the mech builder for that team.
you know, we talk about slowing down SF a lot, but it's very rare that it actually works when he's Radiant. Like, maybe you kill him once or twice. He usually has that quad stack. Rarely do you see teams actually walk in and steal it. Honestly, not even that often do they try to ward it. Do you feel like more teams should be contesting that early, or is it just the nature of the matchup that you can't really get in there in the jungle?
Sometimes it depends on the draft, though. If you have a big team fight ultimate, like a Phoenix, Supernova, or Tyrant Ravage, then you can actually try and contest. But for EHOME's lineup this game, it's probably going to be difficult, but maybe you want to just block them at least, and you focus on stacking Ancients for TA. I think that could also be a good idea for EHOME. Because like I agree, it's going to be hard for them to contest without any big ultimates, whereas Vici has so many big ultimates on their lineup.
Yeah, on the side of EHOME, you've got one of the most popular dual cores in the patch right now. It's the TA Ember, but they're lacking their friend, the Darkseer. They actually opted to ban it. Vici had the first pick in the second stage and did not want to risk that going the other way.
Do you know why? Because
Why?
you always give this guy TUS if you can.
Yeah, that's true. And he's just so good at it, you don't want to change up the roles, even if potentially you could.
Yeah, if I'm the team captain, I'll always put this guy on TUS.
Honestly, they should not have won that first game in the last series. Like, 11 played out of his mind to take that away.
Even back at the qualifiers, like when I was casting with Parker, we were talking, oh, this guy is the best TUS.
All right, well, this is the best place to watch Dota in the world right now, folks. The Suntech Convention Center, EHOME versus Vici. We are finally underway. Game 1, all audio issues hopefully resolved for the teams. Here we go. Vici on the Radiant side. It will be EHOME, the Dire. They start trucking down bottom. 5 heroes grouped up. Looks like they do want to get up in the Shadow Fiend's grill nice and early.
And the Earthshaker actually TP down early. He was expecting what I talked before. I expected the BH to actually TP down to play swords, but they didn't actually do that. But FY anticipated that the BH would TP, so he was already here ready with his sentry.
Great positioning by FY, or is it? Maybe not. Lanham's got the lift. The follow-up's coming through. Chucking him back. He will have a fissure trying to find the opening, but the shards, they push him into no man's land. 11. Oh, maybe. Tango through. Yeah, hello. Nice try, FY, but down he goes. Committed the sentry as well. I'm not even sure if that was intentional for 11, but my God, the man's a magician on Tusk.
It's not intentional. He just wanted to block him off, but it actually worked out so much better for him. So he got the kill. That was what they needed.
They're going for more. That one, they found Fenrir.
Oh,
he's trapped, but Kaka also trapped out a bit. Unfortunately, they start eating trees frantically, and Fenrir runs back into them. He panics. He will go down as well. EHOME already off to the hottest start they've had against Vici in a long time.
2 shots, 2 kills. That's why you first pick TUS for this guy.
That's why you maybe start banning it or taking it away. Jeez. Vicious.
ISSS is going to start pulling the creep because there's no one here to actually stop him from doing that. He's going to try and reposition the creep wave so that he actually gets more experience overall.
CTY will get there, look for the block, but ooh, come with me, creeps. I've got a new place for you to go.
Yeah, he's going to try and keep it in front of the tower around this area as much as possible.
So they do get the sentry down mid, of course. You're up against a bounty hunter, but for now, the bounty, he's decided to make bottom his home. Thoughts on this, Winter? Pressuring the Queen of Pain early?
Yeah,
who, by the way, has dust.
They got a few kills early, so I think the BH can basically do whatever he wants right now. Pressure the Queen or pressure the SF or place deep wards.
He wants to do a little bit of everything. 11, not too far off that level 2, at which point maybe we see the Snowball Shards combo and they go for it. Lanham also has the lift available. FI moves into position. Not sure if Vici realized that there's somebody around. Oh, they found Kaka. They do have the dust, they'll pop it now. Shadow Strike is available, and they'll let it fly as 11 looks for the shards grab, but doesn't have the snowball just hit. He's not quite level 2, and they bring him in, but Burning's gonna pay. 11 patiently waiting, and now they lift Fenrir, they drop him back. Snowball is available, and they're gonna save it maybe for FY. It doesn't even need to cast it there.
Dude, he was so patient with his lift. He didn't lift the first kill for the Queen at all. He was waiting and waiting and waiting until he made sure that they didn't need the lift, and he could have used the lift on a second target and securing his team another kill. So well played by Lamb there on the Rubik.
Well, Merlini said, and I'm sure you would agree, Winter, that EHOME need a good start in the lanes, but this is beyond good. This is an incredible beginning for them.
Yeah, but nevertheless, during team fight, obviously Vici is going to be having much more advantage with their heroes, but we'll see how much EHOME actually get from the early game. Lamb is going to come into middle game, gets a lift onto Super. Oh, he's so dead.
There's the Fade Bolt. Fenrir too late. In fact, Old Chicken will punish him as well for his insolence. Gives him the extra auto attack there. FY now trying to rotate, but it feels like FY is just one step behind the EHOME supports.
He needs to always be at the same time, at the same place with the Bounty Hunter. He can't really react towards the Bounty Hunter because as an Earthshaker, you need to preemptively anticipate where the opponent supports are ganking, and you have to be there early to help stop the gank from happening.
Well, speaking of the gank, look what's coming top lane now. We have LAN out of mana currently, doesn't have a clarity, and would have to break this Invis rune to use it.
They don't have a mango on the carry. Sometimes you see the carries having mango, and it's going to be useful in this sort of situations.
I think he's a little bit short on the mana for the combo, but they're going to get this with auto attacks. Going in, Ice committee on the CTY here, Lanham trying to bait forward. He will have the lift available now. CTY salving up. Ice though, he's a tanky one, 6 armor. We'll be able to get away.
No, we haven't really been talking much about the matchup here because they were actually focusing so much on shutting down bottom. Ice have been getting a lot of farm and experience at top, and Slada is really good versus Ember because Ember has really low base armor at the start of the game.
So they settle now into a 2-1-2, Winter. What's the reasoning for this adjustment, and do you like this?
Because Ember is having a tough time. They need to help the Ember. Like, Ember is very weak in the first few levels, so I think this is important for them to actually achieve that. You need to make sure that the Ember gets a somewhat decent start in the early game. He might not get free farm, but you need to secure his levels as well.
And he is farming really well, but he, as you point out, he's taking a ton of harassment, had to use a lot of regen down to just one tango.
I think without the Rubik there, he definitely doesn't have this much amount of farm. He was sort of on even terms with the Slada before that, but because the Rubik arrived, so Slada couldn't really pressure him as much as before.
4-minute rune gonna spawn, and Ice wants to get his grubby claws on it as he rotates to the rune. Simultaneously, Kaka going for the bottom. He'll get the bounty. Ice gets the illusion.
Still no ancient stacks for the TA, and jungle stack-wise, there's only like a double stack for the SF in the medium camp. So the supports have been doing so much roaming that stacking has not happened too much.
Thinking about an engage onto 11 here. Fenrir trying to bait him forward. Currently, don't see any detection there, but they do have the dust. Kaka jumping in. There's the shard. Snowball combo. He's going deep for burning. No, can't quite get it. Now the Fissure.
He's
the turn from Vici Gaming. 11 stick. He's got it, but may go down anyway. One more auto tech from Fenrir. Denied by Kaka.
Denied.
Even that kill not allowed for Vici Gaming.
That snowball was actually really dangerous. So because if the Queen was able to blink out like what Burning did, it just compromises the Tusk position. He was going to die if he didn't kill the Queen of Pain there. So that was a very, very risky move.
Look at this. Super. Pretty low here. Don't think Lanham has quite enough firepower on his own. He's going to need the assistance of the TA. But if he's not careful, could he easily
11 is coming in. They might actually want to wait for the Tusk to get nearer if they want to secure this kill.
Oh, they're going for it now. Super. Does he see it coming? He does not. There's no vision for him, and now he gets pulled back in, right into the waiting arms. They still have a snowball ready. This TP, a bit dangerous, but it is Ice. Very tanky. Still, they could dive. No, they don't want to risk it. Worried about additional TPs, while in the bottom lane, Kaka will get picked off. So 1-for-1, but it's a Shadow Fiend for a support bounty hunter.
And the supports have been making so much successful rotations, especially the Rubik.
They're going for it again. There's the shards, the snowball flies. 11 just continues to punish them. Everywhere you turn, this guy has been the story of the tournament for EHOME. First it was CTY on the quad, but down the stretch, it's been all the Tusk all the way.
Don't forget about the 2 early kills before the game started with his shots. This guy has so far been the MVP of this team in a lot of their games.
He's been in on all of their kills. 2, 1, and 4, and the other one was a deny.
Oh, dear DD. He might be able to use this to actually kill Fenrir in the jungle.
Are they going to make a move mid again?
He's going to be dead if he gets caught.
They've gotten great wards up as well from the bounty hunter. So they really see a lot of the movement right now. I believe they did scout FY rotating towards mid. If not, they will see him if he pokes his head out, which he's about to do. Yep, there you go. Hey, guys.
They're going to see him place that wall as well, so I expect them to be able to deward that in the near future. So all in all, the start has been really, really good for EHOME. They needed it, and they got it.
And look at the start on the cores as well. It's not just the kills they've gotten. CTY is farming now, already up to 43 CS. Doing very well here in the top lane. The Templar Assassin ready to start farming or stacking Ancients. Probably stacking for now. The CTY, oh, has the triple remnant, but just needs the chains to cool down before you can go for the kill there on Ice.
Yeah, Ice had a lot of stick charges as well, so that was not an easy kill for him to get if he wanted to dive in. But so far, everyone has been getting quite good CS on, on EHOME. The Ember has 48 CS. TA is on even terms with the Shadow Fiend because Shadow Fiend has done some jungling. And Tusk is almost on even with the Queen of Pain as well. But they got more kills, obviously. So
I'm really feeling like Vici's vision is just not good enough right now. Like, they can't see any of these supports.
Because they are very, reactive towards the Bounty Hunter and the Rubik moving around. So they can't really move out and get deep wards compared to what EHOME has done in this game.
And they're trying to remove EHOME's vision, but they're not quite able to. As Burning gets jumped on, he will blink away at the last second, back in the trees. 11 will get punished, taken down, but it requires a 4-hero rotation to do it. Still, bringing down the highly level Tusk, definitely worth it. Now they chase for more. They have a Mango. Ice sprinting, Lanham, no lift available. He's gonna need to juke this, but you can't juke the amp damage. In a lot of trouble, Fissure will barely connect. Now the follow-up crush, and Lanham looks like he will be going down, pops the stick, not enough.
Oh.
Will fall. The Bounty Hunter, they saw him, I think.
They don't have dust, so he's fine.
But they can't follow it up. Old Chicken, he's not afraid. Drops the trap, runs right in, gets amped up for his trouble. Are they gonna try and go on him here? They do have the Mango, they've got the stick charges. There's the first stun. Shadow Fiend even arrives. Also wants to get involved, and now the shards come out, grabbing Super. It's just the Shadow Fiend again, 11 out of his mind. Will find one, and then CTY looks for more. 5 heroes swarm into EHOME's backyard, or Vici Gaming's backyard, which has now pretty much become EHOME's backyard, and they take it over.
This pass is just single-handedly destroying Vici Gaming right now with his shots. Oh my god.
Every shard, it just feels like a magical gift from heaven.
This guy's like 1 shot, 1 kill.
It's a slogan. Let's get him a t-shirt with it.
And they're getting so much map control right now, and the SF and the Queen of Pain have no room to farm. And not only that, because Slada has to get to the point where he's able to farm his blink, because the game has been going so bad for them, and he can't really rely on the SF or the Queen to make space at this moment. So I expect the dagger from the Slada to come really late, or he's just going to be relying on maybe participating in kills where they seem to get his dagger. I don't foresee ISSI being able to farm a dagger in the near future.
Well, they finally got that ward up that I was saying I felt like they needed Winter. And they do scout 2 heroes off in the jungle, but at the same time, they're not really farming right now. The Silencer desperately trying to get his level 6 top lane. Has cracked level 5 now. Creeps are going to walk in and start harassing. Is it good enough? Diving onto Ice there. They're going to engage, perhaps. TP gets forced out. A stagger retreat is the way to go here, but Old Chicken does get caught a bit under the tower. While that's happening, CTY finds a solo kill in the Silencer, who's desperately trying to get his level 6, but doesn't quite have it yet. Big crush to try and turn this. Not enough, though. They need a little more firepower. Burning gets chunked down. Old Chicken, a few seconds into refraction. He might get it off in time. Yes, he will! Refraction. Oh, denied again, and now they search for more. Ice executed in front of his friends. 4 down. Likely to be 5. Snowballs are coming to raises. They need more. Snowball, come and get him. It's a feeding frenzy as EHOME wipe out Vici again. 5 heroes fall, including the Silencer top through it all. My goodness, this is ugly.
They need to get ultimates up on their supports, especially as a Silencer global. They need his global to be able to take a team fight. That was actually
They're getting more.
That was a really good Sonic wave ready from the Queen, but they still couldn't win the fight.
Look at this. Even more coming the way of EHOME now. Just this is like the most blessed game they've ever had, I feel. Now leading by 7,500 gold, 5,000 experience. The adjustment in game plan, well, if you can call it that, maybe it's just picking the Tusk.
Top lane as well. Or he didn't get the tower.
CTY, he forces a triple TP and then he just walks away. They will get the tower deny out, but like you said, Woodturds, that's all they get. They're very reactive this game. And when we've seen Vici Gaming,
Korea?
Even more pain and punishment heading their way. Kaka finds that, and Old Chicken will finally finish off the Roche. This is the dream game so far. They may lose Kaka here, though, but even then, it's only a support bounty hunter, not the biggest deal in the world, and it will require a large commitment, but they get the kill, at least something for Vici. But now Track's online.
Yeah, and Old Chicken opts to go for an early blink instead of the common Desolator that we see so much, because it's going to allow him to focus down the Silencer. He realizes the key target in the Vici Gaming's lineup is the supports, the Silencer and the Earthshaker. If you can actually blink behind enemy lines, take them out, the team fight is all EHOME's.
Burning starting to stack Ancients here. Vici want to try and play that comeback game. Is also the big camp going to be stacked up at the same time by Super, but I'm talking about comebacks. Shadow Fiend, he's just about to complete his tread. Still a long way to a potential mech.
Like usually a Radiant Shadow Fiend at 11 or 12 minutes, you should have 6,000 net worth or 5.5k net worth. Top lane, Ice gonna get caught by CTY here. Track kill, 3 heroes.
They're kiting him, they control him, and they do bring him down. Any dreams of a Blink Dagger are put to rest.
That is really big. 3 hero track here, and Rubik gets M damage.
Oh my goodness. Well, I was gonna say they could Roche, but they already got that. Tower of the TA. And to go with it, more combat items. You mentioned the Blink on the TA, now the mech coming out for the toss. EHOME are gonna look to put Vici Gaming into a full Nelson.
This is looking really bad for them. Right now, even if you go for a team fight, I'm not even sure if Vici can actually come out on top, but that is their best bet. They have to rely on their lineup, grouping up together as 5 heroes and take a team fight.
This will be huge. If they can force Fenrir to blow the global silence, a key component of their team fight, it might ruin things now as they get the lift, but it's on to Super. He will global, and EHOME just look to walk away. 11 wants to run in though. Super trying with the raises, doesn't really do anything, and now he's gonna get turned on. The amp damage melts him. He's almost dead. Now he pops this will trade for 11. They even commit an Echo Slam for that, though so much expended with Old Chicken yet to even get active in the fight. And he just marches after Fenrir. Come over here, Magneto. Come back. Blinks forward, up with your head, and now Ice is trying to at least get rid of this Aegis, but Old Chicken, he fights against 3 while the team finally makes the rotation. They will lose the Aegis, but the Remnants are coming out. CTY with the long committed jump forward onto FY.
Oh,
he misses the chains, but he still chases. They get the trap up. Looks like they should have the kill anyway. Zapped from distance. 3 down and a global expended.
At least they didn't get the track on the Shaker,
They do manage to grab the Tusk as well as the Aegis there. Honestly,
it's not too bad.
I want to say that's a good fight for Vici.
It is actually not too bad for Vici. They got the Aegis, and like you mentioned, like 2 for 3 in their situation. It is not bad, and they didn't even they didn't even use their Sonic Wave at all. So they still have that in their arsenal for the next upcoming fight.
Rotation top now is the Bounty Hunter. Will pop out a track and a roll to Ice, but he didn't catch him this time. Still dead anyway. 11 just wrecking Slardars. Bernie will be next.
No.
Blinks in, no escape plan, and down he goes as well. Another, oh, not again, not again. Leave this guy alone. 11 just is not being stopped. Old Chicken collects, and they hunt for more. 3 down,
oh my God!
Unbelievable. 11. Okay, if there's not a Tusk ban next game, Winter, we might not even need to cast it.
Oh my God, that is a sensational play from 11.
That's a team wipe, by the way. Shadowfiend also died while that was happening.
The Queen was counting on Ice to get the crush off, but he died before he gets the crush off, so the blinking became a suicidal move from burning there. So things getting from bad to worse for Vici Gaming. They still have only one option left, I think, just counting on the 5-man team fight that they have. There's no other way they can actually come back into this game. Like, they can't really out-farm them because map control is on EHOME's side. EHOME has the superior catch as well, with the Ember being so mobile, with the Bounty Hunter, with a blink on the TA. So the only way they can get back into the game is just by team fighting.
What's going to make it tough to team fight, though, is the vision that EHOME now has.
They don't even have a mech on the SF.
It's 15 minutes. Often at this point, you'll even see like the Ogre Club coming out, but he had to get the first component. And even let's say they could win a 5v5 fight if they got their whole combo off. How are they going to sneak up?
They have to kill CTY here.
They're trying right now. Well, they're going to team fight, but it's everyone just for CTYs. They commit a global. They end a dominate streak. That is a very big kill for Vici Gaming. Fenrir are the one to get the last hit, which will delay the Blink Dagger quite a bit, unfortunately.
But that was still a very expensive kill. It was global plus Echo Slam.
A 2,000 gold kill, but it may cost them an objective now, as EHOME will have a nice window of opportunity to turn this around.
I agree. Once the Ember actually revives from his death, they'll be able to just take towers or even... There's no Roshan, so I guess it's only taking towers there for them. They have... Look at their vision. Dude, look at their vision.
That's what I was saying.
What the
It's just ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Charts come out, Super dodges it, but the TA comes through anyway. Pow! Shadow Fiend down, looking for more. FY desperately trying to chain stun him. There's a Deso out already, and now the Fisher's gonna get stolen by Lanham. They tried to deny him his Shaker, but the Lanham Shaker finds its way into the game anyway. Steals the Fisher, makes the plays. Now they hunt Fenrir. It's another team wipe. GG. See you later, Vici. EHOME came to play in game number 1, and 11 gives them the ... What are you thinking not banning my Tusk? I think he's entitled to say it after that game.
A lot of the momentum of the game came down to, I feel, the first 2 kills that happened before the game. If those 2 kills did not happen, actually, it's hard to say that it would change, how much it would change the laning phase, but it gave EHOME such a huge advantage in the laning phase where they were able to do so much with the Tusk. They roam with the Rubik and BH so effectively as well because they got the 2 early kills on their heroes. The experience is all that counts a lot.
Not sure how much there's going to be to analyze with this one. It was just basically one guy punching another one who's huddled in the corner, like, leave me alone, it hurts.
Yeah, I think the other issue was also because they had their tricore, that Slada, Shadowfin, and Queen, all is resource consuming. So you don't really have that one person, like a Tusk, to actually keep making space for your team. So if you lose the early game, this is what will happen to your lineup.
Well, game 1 now a wrap. We'll see what our analysts have to say about it. Dakota, what do you think about this EHOME team?
I think Tusk is pretty good. That's what I think. Well, thank you so much, LD and Winner. Back on the panel, of course, with Shiver and Ben. The pre-show was longer than the game.
Twice as long, actually.
We were all wrong on our time prediction.
But we were also expecting Tusk to get banned.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen.
They took a long time to pick it, and they're probably like, wow, Vici crazy? Are they going to give us Tusk?
It's very risky. I mean, you see Vici Gaming leaving Tusk in. Is this a trap? Do they have something in mind for us?
They did, but I don't think they expected the early game to go so poorly, and the Bounty Hunter kind of just ruined their whole entire jungling pan, and they had 2 like super greedy supports. I expected Vici to go aggro, but EHOME was that one with actually the amazing lanes, and you know, they kind of rectified their mistake against Vici in their earlier series where they just lost out in the early game.
I felt like I posed this question when we were doing that long discussion at the start. You know, Vici Gaming kind of made that mistake with Secret when they're just like, oh, just let them have the Weehaw Wind Ranger, you know. You can't do that. Sometimes, even though you feel like maybe this particular hero doesn't deserve a first wave ban, it's very apparent they're just that good on the hero. You can't let that happen.
Yeah, but sometimes their mentality is like, okay, we know they're going to first pick Tusk, and then it makes the whole draft easier, so you can't really fault them for that.
This is going to be, I mean, this game, obviously, it's in the loser bracket, so this is the only chance they had. Maybe in the first game we think, you know what, we think we can counter it, but, you know, obviously they can't. I think from here on out, Vici Gaming, they should not take any chances. They should ban out the Tusk.
Yeah, but they have first pick this time, so it's a lot easier.
Yes. They won it themselves. Actually, they play it themselves a lot as well.